Time to get salty over nothing. 10 things you're gonna get mad that they stopped doing, even though you would have never thought about it without this video.
It's 2023, and although we have seen an absolute ton of old school
What is up with this mic,
returning,
bruh?
there's still a
Sound
lot
different.
that's just kind of gone, and some of it really just shouldn't be. Hi folks,
him right
it's
on the
Falcon, and
knee.
today on Game Ranks,
Mark
10
one.
things video games shouldn't have abandoned. Starting off with number 10, extreme sports minigames. Like, where have all the minigames gone? There's an argument to be made that these things are
His mic sound like he
resources
in a hotel or
that are
something.
utilized elsewhere, but I mean, come on. A few minigames can really add some variety, especially with how much AAA games are ballooning in size. If I'm gonna spend
Yeah, I
hundreds
know,
of
100
hours playing
fucking
a game,
gigabytes
give
on
me
a game.
something else to do. Maybe this is just a personal thing, but the extreme sports minigames and stuff like Final Fantasy VII or Spyro the Dragon were really some of the best. Like, the snowboard part in Final Fantasy VII isn't gonna
Yeesh.
compete with SSX, but it's a
find you.
really cool break up.
Last player
Gameplay.
standing.
It's something that just isn't like anything else in the game, and well, there's actually a lot of that
Spike
in
planted.
Final Fantasy VII. It's not all extreme sports, but the fact that there is some extreme sports when you're up on a snowy hill, and you probably at least think of snowboarding at least once during that whole sequence, it kind of makes sense. And no, I'm not saying it really makes sense or anything.
This is
but in
kind of a
terms
random one,
the
bro.
world,
Give us
you
more
think about it, and
mini-games.
hey, also you can do it, and it's fun.
I feel like there's a lot of mini games. Maybe like not sport related, like you said. Oh no. That shit petty.
The Spyro skateboarding game was actually pretty legit.
Hey, that
and
looks
it's
cool
easily
as
my
fuck.
favorite mini game in Spyro 3.
That looks dope. I fuck with that heavy. When are they gonna drop Skate 4 already, bruh? Oh shit, he ate it.
Remember the skateboard mode in Metal Gear Solid 2? That was actually
What?
amazing. Technically, it was basically a demo for Konami's Evolution Skateboarding, but that game was nothing to write home about. But skating around Big Shell,
That's literally like Tony Hawk's
it's
Underground.
funny in a way, but it's also just a lot of fun and cool looking.
Catch them.
Oh shit. Oh no. There's a couple on side. There's Tony
These old
Hawk's.
games weren't
Player
afraid to get a
standing.
little goofy and janky at times, and these types of minigames weren't always great or anything. But I definitely miss when games weren't so carefully
That looks
polished
nice. I
and
like that.
actually include some rough edges
Spike
like this.
planted.
Half the time, games that come out now are just buggy messes, seemingly no matter
One
what.
shitty
So
port
screw it.
after
Why not
another?
just have some developers
We got
having a
this.
lot of fun, making a lot of cool stuff that maybe doesn't work perfectly, but it's interesting. It's not like letting a few guys put a skateboard into your game is going to make that much of a difference.
Bro, that's game
And number
changing.
9 is
Skateboard
action
always makes
hijack.
everything
For a
cool.
while, it seemed like every game had this feature, so maybe that's why it's less common now. Or maybe devs just collectively decided it looks ridiculous. I don't care. It's an awesome feature that pretty much every
What
driving
did he
game
say?
should have. Action hijacking is when you steal a car
While
driving
it's
another
driving?
car.
What the hell? I don't feel like that's a common gameplay mechanic.
Find
Sleeping
you.
Dogs has it. Just Cause games basically have it. That Vin Diesel game nobody remembers. The Wheelman has it. Those Pursuit Force games on the PSP have it. And what else do I need to
no.
say? It's awesome. It makes swapping cars so much faster than the normal method of getting out of cars, stopping
Oh shit.
Player
pulling the person
standing.
out, accelerating.
I have my hand
I
out.
don't have time for that. I'm on the clock here.
Spike
I know
planted.
it looks absurd. I don't think I have to explain that the physics just go completely out the window when you do this. But it's a video
That's
game.
a pretty
It's
cool
fun.
concept
Isn't
though,
that
yeah.
the thing that matters? It's not like you
Wonder if
can
you could jump onto
actually
a
go
motorcycle
out
like
and
that.
steal a bunch of cars in the way you do in these games and, you know, have that not be your main focus. I mean, I want this feature so I'm able to keep driving in a different car to a destination
you can do it.
where I have something
Well,
to
yeah,
do.
man.
There's at least
Keep
one
fighting.
That's pretty
recent game with
cool.
some proper action hijacking, but it's just a single level in Modern Warfare 2, the New Ones campaign. Yeah, it's fun stealing details while chasing on the world's longest convoy, but this mechanic just isn't the same when it's not an open world game. It is still fun though.
That's pretty cool.
At number 8 is challenging platforming.
We should-
Now, I know
we should
I'm
still
beating
have
a
that, bro.
long
Fuck,
dead
bring it
horse here,
back.
but most AAA games have completely given up
They
on
should not have
providing any
abandoned
kind of
that.
challenge in their platforming sections. Almost all these games have some kind of climbing, like God of War,
Over there.
Horizon, basically any
So what?
said they're not here. I think we should go A.
All right.
Assassin's Creed game. I could probably go on a really long time here. And they all have climbing in them somewhere, but it's also automated. It barely serves gameplay purpose at all.
What the hell?
In
That
some
looked like
cases,
they're
it's
in
so
the
automated,
bathroom
it
in
might as well
Saw.
just be a loading screen. Like all you're doing is pressing a button.
Spike
and waiting.
down A.
For a lot of people out there, it's fine. Not everybody wants to go back to the days of Tomb Raider,
Oh,
where
no.
the most basic jump was life or
Last
death.
player
But there is a
standing.
satisfying.
Spike planted.
No charges. Bring them down.
One enemy remaining.
Bring them down.
Oh, you bitch.
Oh, damn, bro. Damn.
Got him.
Find middle ground here. Like pretty much everything on this list, there are exceptions that prove the rule, like Jedi Survivor, which manages to include some interesting platforming sections.
really
But for
think
every
they
game like
scare
that,
me?
there's a bunch more. We're getting from point A to point B is just so simplified.
Now
It's
you're
just
just showing
basically an
off.
in-game cutscene, and there's no reason for it at a certain point. That said, games keep getting it anyway. If games are going to dedicate a lot of gameplay time to climbing and jumping, they shouldn't have
Silence.
abandoned any semblance of difficulty or even just
Boomer.
having it be something, because all it does is make these parts feel like total filler.
At number 7 is puzzle dungeons and RPGs. Way back when, the dungeon was the big
Oh,
highlight.
bullshit.
of
Nobody
an
ever
RPG.
encourages
These things were
puzzles.
elaborate locations
Or
filled with puzzles
lioness.
and challenges. Like they were the
Sometimes they can be
set-piece
cool, but ain't
moments
nobody
of
ever
the
asking
game.
for
As
them.
games have gotten more complex, however, some dungeons, let's just say, have gotten a lot more basic. And maybe more than some. I'm being kind.
What game is that?
In all seriousness, look at recent RPGs, including the ones that are mostly throwback. Octopath Traveler 2, Xenoblade Chronicles 3, the Final Fantasy VII remake, hell, even Final Fantasy VI. They all have pretty linear dungeons that just work on this. There are exceptions.
fuck.
Western RPGs aren't a lot in that department, but Larry is knocking it out of
Uh-oh.
the park with dungeons. And a recent
Spike down
one's hard.
A.
has some fun
Last
dungeons
player
in
standing.
it, but for the most part, the bigger RPGs go away from the more exploratory elements of their predecessors that essentially
right.
make
That's
the dungeon into its own puzzle. In order to get past
That
it,
game
you
looks
have to
beautiful.
find
Which one is that?
everything in it
Final
and
Fantasy
put it
10 or
together
something?
in some novel way. And
14? I don't even know.
Okay? Easy, right? Nice job, Cloud.
I'm not saying that the games I
That's
mentioned are
cute.
bad, or even that linear dungeons are bad. Sometimes it's just nice when they take the approach that requires you to be creative in terms of exploration.
What game is
At
that?
number 6, an in-game web browser. It's one of those things that doesn't really pop up much anyway, but it's a shame that more modern games
I'll
still
find
haven't
you.
given this idea a shot. Being able to learn more about the world of the game by
This one
sitting at a
did.
computer, by browsing real, fake real. I don't know. Sometimes
Feeling,
they make
feeling,
websites
feeling.
in real life, or at least used to when it's used to be a thing. But it made the game really immersive and fun without reading a dull encyclopedia of terms, which is kind of rare for games to
Top
put in
mid.
this
One
kind of
meeting.
effort. Like Grand Theft Auto
Spike
4 and 5,
planted.
of course, do this. They're both great in their own way and have way more work put into them than might appear at first. Cyberpunk 2077
How-
also has an
how do
in-game
you
browser,
implement
but
that?
it's kind of basic and doesn't really try to be
And
immersive.
what really use do you have it for?
Considering the world of Cyberpunk,
you can really do is lore.
One game that really went nuts with this idea was Front Mission 3 on PlayStation, the original
What is this
PlayStation.
world
It's set in a
hurting?
science fiction
It's
future that's
mine.
really different.
And I will
Actually,
kill
you want to know
them.
something that's cool about this? Or an idea that's somewhat kind of, not really, but it is a cool idea. One of these games that I tried out called New Cycle.
Chris, when you dash right with Jet, do you use a different finger to press E?
No. Wait, what you mean? I press it with my pointer. Oh, yeah. Whenever I dash right?
Oh, you rebinded your key?
No. It is awkward. I think they're pushing hard.
Where are deployed?
Because normally you press E with your middle finger.
Oh,
Now
shit. I
press
fucked
it
up.
with, like my forefinger.
Throwing next.
'Cause my
I think I mostly try to dash left if I'm being honest. Or like backwards or something. Oh, but yeah, this game New Cycle.
It's just all different now.
A push, there A.
Or this game New Cycle, they'll have like a person show up, an AI person, and you basically have an AI conversation with them, like randomly generated. I think that's how it was explained. I tried it, but it didn't work. But I also didn't.
Last player standing.
I also didn't wait very long for it to respawn. But yeah, that's kind of a cool idea, right? Like have like a what was that? What was that clever bot? Remember that? Where you like just have conversations with AI and it just responds to you.
Why did they add the second E, man? This is so dumb.
Oh yeah. She's gotta like charge up. That shit is dumb.
When the
But-
fuck did they do this shit?
He did that a long time ago, bro.
Yeah, I haven't played in a long time.
Yeah, I see that. Or I would assume. No, but I think that's cool, like having an AI conversation with an AI and get like an AI generated mission or like side mission or something, you know? I feel like that's fun. That's a cool implementation.
Bring them down. Bring them down.
Oh,
We'll catch them.
fucked. Shit.
Spike planted.
He circled around, didn't he? No, but imagine, because they're already doing AI generated voice chat in the Matrix demo. And the AI will have a full-on conversation. You can ask them shit like, hey, what should I do? Or something. They'll just fucking talk.
Last player standing.
Oh, shit.
Territory, my rules.
Oh, fuck. I don't know. The whole AI generated shit is kind of cool. But that's not too much similar to what this is.
From our world, but that doesn't mean the web pages don't have some of the most 90s ass designs I've ever seen.
It is like something.
It's still a really cool feature to include, especially
because you got to type shit in to search on their
on their address the game, but it's there and
internet,
it says something about the world. There are other games that have fake computer interfaces or DOS prompts, but a full in-game browser is an idea that's mostly been abandoned. Hell, at this point, I'm not even sure Rockstar will bring it back for GTA 6. I hope so, but I'm not really that confident in the idea they will. And number 5 is small open world game. Open world games just keep getting bigger and bigger, and while that can be cool at a point, it does make me miss some of the smaller open world designs of previous
You're a
generations.
liar. There's only so much you could do in a small world.
Infamous,
Crackdown was so fun.
It's all one big seamless map, but they're not expecting you to play for 100 hours. At least not to experience the whole campaign.
Good pick.
Big games are cool and all, but sometimes you just want to play something quick, you know? Like, the AAA space has completely abandoned the idea of small open world game. Everyone that comes out seems like it's trying to get bigger than the last. I mean, Bethesda is describing Starfield as being irresponsibly large. Like, those are their exact words. So, I guess maybe it's time to admit these games are just too big. Starfield kind of gets a pass. It's supposed to be huge. That's part of the game. It's a space game.
It's also single
you get what
player.
I'm saying. And I'll say this, too. At least Assassin's Creed is shrinking a little bit with Mirage, but it's one game among many,
so
and also
Skyrim.
I don't think that's the permanent state for Assassin's Creed. If it's successful, it'll probably be two types of Assassin's Creed games. The massive epics and the more intimate Mirage type story. And not every big budget game has to be a huge map. Spider-Man still relatively small in comparison to most of these games, and no one complains about that. That said, anything we're talking
It's
about
fun
here
swinging around on
there's
that.
a few exceptions, and it's nice that they're good and kind of prove my point. It's just okay, sure. The maps
I feel like
of the
Rust
open world
map
games
is so
could do with some
small.
shrink. That's the main point, but it's not really what's going on. It's the over ambition that a lot of these maps have. I'm not saying that all these games have too much stuff in them or too much world in them, because a lot of them are great too. It's just sometimes it's fine to just get dropped into a map and be told to hunt down a bunch of crime bosses, right? Sometimes that's just all that a game needs.
I'll find you.
Crackdown. Remember Crackdown 3?
I'm not
Look at that bullet sponge shit.
using any of my Fucking ability.
And number 4 is secret party members in RPGs. Now,
Remember
I kinda
Crackdown's
feel like a
multiplayer,
boomer for saying
where they
this
could
because
destroy
it's been
everything
that long,
in the
but
arena?
Unlocking a secret character
That shit
in
was
an
so cool.
RPG just felt
Catch them.
awesome. Getting Yuffie and Vincent in Final Fantasy
Spike
7
planted.
was
Them
down.
so cool because you could just miss them. They're totally optional, and they took some extra effort to
They're blind
unlock.
with fear.
And they're both vital for their full story. They're not optional if you want to know everything, but they're optional in terms of actually getting through the game.
Still waiting.
One enemy remaining.
Where are you? No charges.
Nice.
I thought he was in there.
Reloading.
Push a button. Save the day.
Most
That
RPGs
looked dope, though.
now
Round
give
in
you
the
the
half.
entire party
Reloading.
pretty much right at the
Find
start.
the best
For telling a
player
story, it
one
makes
more
sense,
time.
but it does take some of the fun out of these games. Listen, I know the complaints here. I know that most of the time, secret characters in RPGs are barely characters at all. They get almost no development and have nothing to do with the story, but I don't care. Again, Yuffie and Vincent, Final Fantasy VII, that's an example of it done right. And even if they don't have an interconnected reason to be in the story, they're a tangible reward for your
Caution
efforts
here.
that can make the game way more interesting. At least more interesting than getting a new sword. During the PS1 era, secret characters were
Where
all
are
over the
you?
place. But as production values,
They were pretty dope,
increased,
especially
these
when they
guys
give you
eventually
something
stopped showing up. Probably because they're a lot of
Welcome
extra
to
work for
my
not
world.
necessarily any extra
Where was that?
reward, because a lot of players just miss them completely. Rarely they'll show up in games like Mass Effect 2 or Dragon Age as alternative characters, but for the most part, you're not seeing full-blown secret party
Bring them
members.
down.
They do show up rarely, like Chained Echoes had a few, Xenoblade 3 had a guest character that only unlocked after finishing a bunch of seemingly unconnected quests, but that's basically all I can come up with. RPGs barely even have parties anymore, let alone secret characters, so I guess it should come as no surprise these things become rare, but
Spike
still
planted.
want to
What?
see more of them. And number
Where
3,
are you?
trolling cheat
Sure.
codes. Cheat codes rare enough themselves these days, but what's even more rare are the fake out cheats that are just there to mess with people. You have to go back a long, long time to find an era where these things were more common. I mean, I'm talking about
Like a cheat
the
that
90s and earlier.
kills
We're
you.
talking about
You
stuff
tell your
that's
friend,
like,
hey,
oh,
type
Last player
this.
standing.
the internet was still in its
And then they
early
die. That
days.
shit is funny.
Information was more scarce and fragmented, so it was easier to trick people with codes like these. Like in
Switch
Hey, press
side.
all
if you put in
F4,
the Doom
dude.
code, it makes fun of you and then kills you.
Combat is a means to an end. And we are the
And
means.
cheat, eh?
Or the Tomb Raider one where it just makes Lara explode.
What the fuck?
Even a relatively wholesome game like Super Mario RPG got in on the action. Only in the Japanese version, but if you put this code into the game, you get a message from Toad congratulating you for finding the secret, and that's it. Nothing happened. The funny thing is, the internet is more and more fragmented, information is harder to find nowadays, and depending on the game, there's major secrets that seem like they should be obvious, but often go years and nobody notices it. I could see this trend coming back. Maybe I'm just old
Just
school
finding
though,
new
but I
shit
don't
in
want
old
games to be
games.
so nice.
you.
Sometimes I just want to get blown up after cheating, you know?
Marked
I
one.
think this will give me infinite lives. Oh, my character exploded into many of these. And number
Many.
2 is
Down.
actually cool platform exclusive content. As we see more and more paid exclusives, it just makes me nostalgic for the days when exclusivity didn't feel quite so manipulative. Even when games are multi-platform, there still are certain console exclusive features depending on the game. Call
Hey,
of
come
Duty
here,
got
come here, come here.
PlayStation exclusive content, stuff like that.
Come here, come here,
I
come
don't
here,
know if
come
we're
here,
gonna be
come
seeing that anymore, but that's
What's
a
in
different
here?
topic. These
never
days,
mind,
that
I'll
stuff
find
mostly just feels like random bits of content that they arbitrarily
enemy
make
remaining.
exclusive. But they used to be creative about it. Sometimes games would have exclusive stuff that was
find
custom
you.
built for the console. One of the best examples specifically of this is Soul Calibur 2. Depending on which console
in
you bought the
this.
game on, you get an exclusive character. PlayStation 2 got
Nice.
Hiyashi from Tekken. GameCube got Link. Yeah, Link, as in Zelda Link. Not exactly
Make
a guy
them
you'd
regret
expect
their
to
choice
witness
of
the body part physics of that game.
Remember the secret characters you would unlock on Super Smash Brothers? Melee? That shit was cool. Had to
And,
look up how to
Xbox
unlock
got
certain
we need a
people.
sports
Spawn,
side here if
which,
you wanna have a
okay,
chance, huh?
why not?
I will save.
It felt like it got a unique version of the game, though, and it helped that the new
Yeah,
characters were
I know
fun. They were actually good.
Buy.
It's not as cool when exclusives were locked with just one version of the game, but that said, like Kratos in Mortal Kombat 9 was an awesome addition, and even came with a new stage. It's kind of hilarious how protective Sony was of the character, though. They forced NetherRealm to add a ton of fatalities so Kratos doesn't look weak, but it doesn't really matter. It's Kratos. But we may not have been the most successful
my
console,
God.
but they
I
did
keep
have some
forgetting.
fun with it. Like Mario Kart and Tekken Tag Team and Bayonetta. Overall, pretty minor additions, but I'd rather have exclusive content that's added to a game rather than something that's taken out. You know, like how things typically are now when they do that. And finally, at number 1 is airships. The list is a little RPG heavy so far, and well, we're kind of ending it out that way too. But if there's one
much are
genre
39?
out there that's really abandoned a lot of its previous
In this one
identity,
somewhere?
it's the RPG. I mean, I don't think anyone's howling for new games with random battles or annoying status effects, but there's still some cool stuff in these games.
One enemy remaining.
Airships
Nice.
are cheap
Go and
among
meet your
them.
mate.
Think back to playing old Final Fantasy games, and some of the best moments are when you finally get the airship. You spent
I was
the
gonna say
whole
that
game
looked like
walking
that
around on
dude's
foot like
DJ
a
or
chump,
whatever
and
from
now
Grand
you've
Theft
got an
Auto,
airship.
San
So the
Andreas.
world is your friggin' playground.
that was him
There's
running away.
triumphant music, no random battles. You got free roam of the map. It's just an awesome feeling. Most modern RPGs, especially JRPGs, are kind of missing this big moment when everything frees up. Even ones where you do get an airship, like Final Fantasy X, it's kind of a glorified menu where you select the spot to travel to. And with games having fast travel systems and more realistic worlds, it's harder to justify some kind of flying vehicle, but I don't really care how impractical it is. Some games have weirder things that they have to justify,
find you.
so I don't know. We're supposed to be next gen, right? Like, why isn't there a game where you can seamlessly get into an airship from ground level and take off? No loading screen, nothing. Kind of like
Grand Theft
Captain
Auto.
the Boat in Assassin's Creed. Specifically Black Flag and
That's like your
DB, Skull and Bones.
we got
It's
slept.
not Assassin's Creed.
Or she
if
got
that
slept.
turns out to be a thing at some point. But you know, in RPGs. Anyway, it'd be really cool to maybe get a
Let the
rebirth
spike.
of the Highwind in Final Fantasy VII at some point. You get my little play on words here. 'Cause
One
the
enemy
next
remaining.
one's called Rebirth. Okay, I do ask for your forgiveness on that one, but if Square Enix really
Weapon
wants
here.
to wow people, let us pilot the damn thing. That would be beyond cool. I mean, it's not like a Hindenburg-like
Find you.
incident in the RPG industry. Why don't we have airships?
Oh, fuck no. Dude, I was waiting the whole time. He's at B.
This is awesome. Taking the high road.
Oh shit. Oh
And that's all
no,
for today.
Stuck.
Leave us a comment. Let us know what you
Betrayed.
think. If you like this video,
Wanted to
like,
knife him,
if you're not
but-
subscribed, now's a great time to do so. We upload brand new videos every day of the week. And the best
I wanted to knife him, but he just, I don't know. I know he saw me with my knife out and he kept his gun out. I tried to slow him down too, but fuck. He pushed it. But yeah, man, I mean, I don't know. Some of those were just petty, bro. They're just trying to make a video because they make dailies, but some of those are pretty interesting. I mean, how would you implement more online searching in the game world? Like, what can you search up besides lore, you know? Maybe using commands
Where are you?
to, like, well, I mean, to do what? To get into locked doors, maybe? I don't know. There ain't really much you could do with that. And then some of, I mean, I don't know.
Deployed.
Some of those were alright. I could understand some of them, but you can't really implement them all in every game too.
Plant the spike.
You know?
Over there.
Still,
Spike planted.
just make a game with all that shit, bro. Everything. Call it life. Just add every single mechanic that you can. Life. I invented it. I'm patenting it right now.